What's up, guys? Listen, if you're in this video, I know what you're saying. Where's the tea? What did Uncle Gene say? Baby, we did an interview with Uncle Gene. It is explosive. The full edited video will be dropping shortly. But baby, he gave so much stuff. We're going to have to break this up into multiple tidbits. Today, we are focusing on, remember that City College stampede that left 9 people, including a pregnant woman, deleted? Everybody always questioned Diddy's role in it. Y'all, Uncle Gene was there. Uncle Gene spoke on it, and what he saw chilled him to the bone, so much so that he basically stopped messing with Diddy for a while. You guys, buckle in, turn your notifications in. You know we're going to be dropping this interview when it's edited, but also we're going to be dropping all these really great tidbits because you know Uncle Gene is a storyteller. Turn your notifications on. That's coming. And you know when it's all said and done, you know we're going to go live and do a director's cut. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button. You know what? Let me build value. Let's get into what Uncle Gene said, because you guys, what we're talking about when we're referring to City College, it has been referred to as the very first Astroworld, as Stampede. 9 people, including a woman with child, deleted. 26 people injured. But you guys, that description does not properly describe the horror, the sheer callousness, and dare I say the evilness of what Gene Dill witnessed. You guys, buckle up, trigger warning, but it needs to be talked about. So much urban lore has been around this, but now we got Uncle Gene in front of us telling us the MF and truth. Y'all buckle in, because it's a trigger warning. It's dark, but it needs to be talked about. Listen to what Uncle Gene says, and then let me know what you think in the comments. Are y'all blaming Diddy? We do need to know before we go any further. Diddy has and continues to maintain his innocence. He is fighting for his land, his people, his freedom. All jokes aside, he says everything is category false and true. Just because he settled with Cassie doesn't mean anything. Keep in mind that as you listen to Gene Dill's comments, he is giving his past recollections recorded. He is telling you what he felt like he experienced, what he perceived to happen. It has not been independently verified, but we're inviting you in to hear Uncle Gene tell the story about the way he experienced an event. All right, y'all, we got that all out the way. Now let's see what the streets are talking about. Also, really quick, did I mention that Uncle Gene actually has a book? If you like this interview, and you will, and the big one's dropping soon, he has a book that's on Amazon, Bodyguard and Hip Hop, baby. If you lived through that era or you have an infatuation of that era, you need to get this book. A link to the Amazon store will be in my description box. No, I'm not getting a commission on this, but it is a really good book. So go ahead and check it out. And also let me know if you guys want me to do a book club on it. All right, now let's get to the interview. So why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself? Because I feel like everybody's seen you all over, but how exactly do you know Puff? How did you run into him? And how did you fall into working for him?
Well, I know Puff because he was a part of a crew that I was with called The Same Gang. The Same Gang was founded by A$AP Ferg father, D. Ferg, a guy named Mike Owens. His nickname was Mike Cock. Tone Wop. Have you ever heard the song Do the Tone Wop? Tone Wop, Rick Dog, Tab, and myself. We all got together. We started this crew because back in the mid 80s, late 80s, there were a lot of crews that was popping up in Harlem. The Same Gang, Slick and the Family, Best Out, the 40 Wolves, Cash Money Brothers, the All Stars, Mecca Audio with Unique over there. You had Butt Naked and the Final Four, just a lot of cruisers starting up. So I was the dude who basically, I did the security for the Same Gang, but I also, you know, was the one who all the parties was in my name. You know, all the events, I thought of the events. I just used what I learned in college and seen in college, and I just brought it to the streets in Harlem. At the time, I was an investigator for child abuse. Then I went on to do Department of Juvenile Justice before I became a parole officer. And once I became a parole officer in 91, I worked that job into 2018, which I retired after doing like 27 years. But I met Puff because he was doing a thing called Daddy's House. And he was working for Uptown Records, but he was giving parties at the Red Zone, which he was on Wednesdays after the Apollo Theater, and they called it Daddy's House. Then he was doing a place called The Building. And he was having problems, he was having issues. And D. Ferg told him, man, if you want your problem solved, get Gene. Gene will take care of your door for you. And that's how I met him. I started working on doing that. Up until the City College situation.
So when you said, so we're going to get to City College, but you said something about, because this is interesting. If you having problems, call Gene. What problems was he having?
You know, guys bum rushing the door, guys trying to rob him. He wouldn't be able to take the money. He couldn't leave those clubs and get to his car safely unless he had somebody there for him. And I was the person that was there for him. This way before Wolf or anybody got involved with him.
Okay, so you know him early, Puffy, Diddy. What was he going by back then? Was he going by Puffy, Puff? What was he going back? Because he always got a different name for every moment he's in.
After every tragedy, he changed his name.
Exactly. So this was before pre-tragedy. So he was just what? Sean Combs, Sean?
Yeah, he was Puff.
He was Puff. Okay, so then you said this was before the City College incident. So you were around with the City College incident.
Right.
Why don't you tell us what happened with that? Because there's a lot of speculation. People talk about satanic ritual, but you were there. What actually happened? And what's your takeaway?
Well, what happened is that it wasn't enough security, and they changed security at the last minute. I was supposed to do the outside door at City College. Me and about 18 other guys, they changed us with the Nation of Islam at the last minute. Puff called me about a few hours before the thing and said, yo, Gene, I can't use the 18 guys. Heavy D told me to go with the Nation of Islam. So then I said, yo, bro, they're not going to be able to hold them crowd. Because in my crowds, the people know that we always use 2 dogs, enough guys, and the guys that I use, I always use about 8 to 10 guys that were straight from the street that people knew that they wasn't going to play with. You know what I mean? Then I'd use about 4 correction officers and probably 2 or 3 police officers. You know, so I had a sergeant on our team that, you know, he talked to the cops if there was a problem. So, but we had a pretty strong team. Puff cut us down and said, nah, we don't want that. Just bring me 8 guys, Gene, and y'all can work the gym. You know, just look out for the celebrities. So you got to realize you had people that was coming through there like LL Cool J. LL Cool J was the hottest thing in the rap industry at the time in 91. You had Mike Tyson, the heavyweight champion. And all these guys was coming through the front door. So what happened is that it was a stampede, whereas that they couldn't hold the front door. People bum rushed the front door and they ran down into a stairwell that Jessica Rosenberg, who was Puff's partner, locked the door on them. And the only way you could get inside the door if you push it open. It didn't. You had to push it open from the inside. She went in and slammed the door. A friend of mine who worked for me that time, he had did like 17 years, but he's home now. His name was Eddie. He was with Jessica because I put him on Jessica to protect her with the money. As she went through the door, she slammed the door and he got stuck down there too. He called me on the walkie-talkie. He said, yo, Gene, I can't breathe, man. Jessica locked the door. I ran around the gym, pushed the door open, and people start falling at my feet. Then I pushed the other door open, people start falling. They start dragging people to the middle of the floor, and they were still trying to have a basketball game when all this shit was going on. You know?
What?
Right. So then I went over to the basketball thing and I spoke to Dougie Fresh himself. It was Dougie Fresh and Red Alert. I said, man, people over there dead. Cut this shit off, man, and tell everybody to go out the back door, and this shit is over with. So we spoke to Heavy D. Heavy D said he never sanctioned the FOI to take our place and that whole 9 yards. So I stopped dealing with Puff from that time. I was still doing the parties for Uptown Records because a guy named Tim Dog, who actually was the one who started the Lost Boys, he was still giving parties for Uptown Records. So I'm still doing the security for a lot of the people because they was having problems with the outside. And if you got a good outside team, you're going to get your money into the club. And I was a master at getting people into the clubs. Plus, it paid a lot of money.
Well, listen, I know that's right? You do it because you love it, because you're not doing it because love's not free.
All right.
So let's go back, because what you just said was really deep. And because you were an eyewitness. So Jessica, she was Diddy's, I guess, assistant or the organizer or whatnot.
Yeah. Jessica, if you really got to realize, Jessica used to run the front door at Nails.
Okay.
Nails was a popular party that everybody in hip hop wanted to be in. If you was a mogul, if you was into the record business, no matter what creed or color you was, you wanted to get on Nails on Thursday night. So she ran the door. That's how she got her start. So she knew all the people in the record business. You know what I'm saying? So she used to give all the hip hop parties. She was the only one really allowed to get hip hop parties around under 42nd Street. That's crazy.
Because back then, hip hop, if you said you was in hip hop rap, most clubs or places would be like, we don't want these issues. We don't want these problems.
But she was the one who ran the tunnel. She was the one who started the tunnel and all that stuff like that. She was she was the one who introduced Puff to Clyde Davis.
Okay. So she introduced Puffy to Clyde Davis. So why do you think Jessica didn't work for Diddy? She was kind of like in coordination. Why do you think she shut the door when all that mess was going on?
Because she didn't want the people to get in free. She didn't want the people to get in free, and she was scared.
Okay.
Because people start running down the steps and everything like that, because I think the security had left the front door.
Okay. So security left the front door. She locked the door. You got hit on the walkie-talkie like, yo, I can't breathe. You ran down into action to open the door. And while people fell out.
I had to run around the gym.
Wow. So you ran around the whole gym
to go cut across the gym to go open the door. And they had 9 people died that night.
I heard there was 9 people, and the basketball game was still going on.
They were still doing layups.
Do you think
one of the girls was pregnant. Tone Wop had got her out the crowd, and she ended up being that was Father MC, baby's mother. She was trying to run downstairs, and Tone Wop grabbed her and got her away. She said, "Mom, you pregnant? Go home." He turns his back. She runs back down there. She was one of the people that died.
Oh my goodness. So because at this point you said that you were kind of separated from Diddy after that. You kind of weren't messing with him. What was everybody's reaction as far as Diddy, Jessica, the organizers and whatnot?
Well, they was brought up on charges, but because it was a college event and happened at the college, you got to realize that the security at the college is based on the college. So the college should have did very more planning, and they took the bulk of the responsibility. Puff got fired from Uptown Records, and he was about to kill himself. He was on some suicide watch. And D. Ferg was telling us, yo, man, he about to kill himself, man. He want to kill himself. He was.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this little teaser. There is so much more to come. Baby, go grab Jean's book. There's so much in there, but don't worry. This holiday season, you're going to be getting all this work. All right, talk to y'all later.